What if the civilization that built your roads, your laws and your calendar had simply never stopped? We are taught that Rome fell in 476 AD, that a barbarian king deposed the last emperor and the lights went out. But Rome did not collapse because it was weak. It collapsed because of specific decisions that each could have gone differently. Clean water to every city, a legal system across 3 continents, roads that moved a letter from London to Jerusalem in weeks. This was not just power. This was an operating system for human life, and it was about to be deleted. By the 5th century, Rome was hiring the very people threatening its borders to defend those same borders. What if Rome had reformed its military before it was too late, built a professional citizen army instead of outsourcing its survival? The tax base was collapsing. Wealthy landowners evaded taxes, while the burden crushed the middle class out of existence. The Eastern Empire, Byzantium, did survive for another 1,000 years. And almost no one talks about what that actually means. Historians point to one man who came terrifyingly close to saving it: Stilicho, the last real defender of the West. Rome executed him in 408 AD. 2 years later, the Visigoths sacked Rome for the first time in 800 years. The city that believed itself eternal learned otherwise in 3 days. But here is what should make you stop, and this is the detail that changes everything. Rome was not burned to the ground. 80% of its infrastructure remained standing after the fall. The roads still worked, the aqueducts still flowed. What killed the Western world was not the fall of Rome, it was the failure to maintain what Rome left behind. The plague that killed a third of Europe in the 14th century thrived in the conditions created by collapsed Roman sanitation. It likely does not happen in a Rome that never fell. 75 million people died in the Black Death. In a surviving Rome, most of them live. And their descendants change everything. The knowledge lost in the Dark Ages was not forgotten. It was lost because the institutions that preserved it stopped functioning. In a surviving Rome, those institutions never stop. Knowledge never needs to be rediscovered. It simply keeps accumulating. The scientific revolution happened in the 16th century. But the knowledge it used, Euclid, Archimedes, Ptolemy, survived only in fragments copied by monks who did not understand what they were preserving. Without the Dark Ages as a barrier, historians estimate the scientific revolution could have arrived by 800 AD. That is 6 centuries of additional compounding human knowledge, 6 centuries of compounding. The telescope in 500 AD, the steam engine by 700, flight by 900. And here is the irony almost no one sees coming. A surviving Rome might have reached the Americas before the year 1000. Not lost explorers looking for a trade route. An empire conducting systematic exploration with the same precision it used to build roads across 3 continents. But here is what the optimistic version always forgets: empires are engines of exploitation before they are engines of civilization. Every Roman road was built on slave labor. A Rome that never fell would have needed more slaves, not fewer. Medieval Europe was brutal and disease-ridden. But it was also where ideas about individual rights and representative government were slowly, painfully forged. The Magna Carta, Parliament, the university system, all emerged from the specific pressures created by the absence of Rome. And here is what reframes the entire story. The Christianity Rome eventually adopted carried the philosophical seeds of human equality that Roman paganism never had. The idea that every human being has inherent dignity, regardless of social position, that did not come from Rome, it came from the religion Rome tried to destroy before adopting it. Rome gave us the architecture of civilization, but the civilization worth living in, built on the idea that every person matters, emerged from what grew in Rome's shadow after Rome was gone. We did not lose Rome, we inherited it, your legal system, your calendar, your concept of citizenship. That is Rome, still running, in a different form. The question was never whether Rome would survive. It was always which parts were worth keeping, and which parts needed to fall before something better could grow. History is not the story of what was lost, it is the story of what survived loss, and what that survival cost. And if you are thinking about what else almost reshaped the entire world, the next civilization on this channel is even closer to home than you think. If this made you see the world differently, subscribe. Because the next question is already waiting and it is bigger than this one. And if you know someone who thinks history is just memorizing dates, send them this. Let Rome change their mind.